okay with you. I mean, you're naturally okay with it. You being before the camera is easy. Most people can't do that. So naturally, we have natural inclinations, and we have to accept that. So the moment we look at it from the manual way, we want to control things from the outside, we're going to get disappointed. So career, in most cases, it starts with who we are as individuals. The money can be there. The challenge is that family will be there. But at the end of it all, we've had people that have not had maybe money to continue pursuing their academics and all that, but they've worked somewhere. After some time, they've gone back to school. I'm one of those people. You know, I didn't have any chance to go straight for bachelor's. I first started to work and then go. So the point is, if there is something that is naturally inclined, naturally implanted, like planted into you, who you are, because career shouldn't be a place where we expose what we are not. I'm being given a platform to expose what I know. So career doesn't come from the outside, it comes from us. You're trying to show people what you can do. So the earlier, the better. The earlier, the better. But probably let's talk about people that have already advanced. And maybe they have a bachelor's, maybe they've joined the university. How do we go about this? Number one, let us first of all understand the courses that we're having. I'm doing human resource. What's the job of the human resource? How do they get paid? How does the human resource industry look like? Now, you'll have all the theory of the human resource, you know, personnel and everything, but you don't know anything about the industry where you're going. In other words, by the time you graduate, you need to go back again and start learning from the, from the actual experience at a place of work. You are very, very incompetent. The only competence you have is by paper. So the point is, the education system is a little bit not so much favorable. But let's try to look at the alternatives. The alternative is, you are going to university. Do you understand the course that you're studying? Where do people work? I'm doing development studies. What does a development study, where does a journalist work at the end of it all? How do they get paid? What are the chances of a journalist being hired in Uganda, apparently? How does that industry look like? So in other words, we should be in a position to continuously have discussions about this. You just don't have to sit in a class because you're doing a bachelor's, and then after you start talking about career conversations after when you've graduated. No, university is something that is already placing you in a direction where you want to go, but doesn't have all the answers. At the end of it all, you have to connect with the people who are already practicing in the industry. And it's very much important in there. Like human beings, we have naturally good traits. If you're not a perfectionist, chances are you may not be in a position to run a camera. They are traits that human beings have that guide us. That's why someone is very comfortable being behind the camera, but they don't want to be here. There's something like that. Probably I'll blend in some little bit of academia to make my point home. There's a gentleman called Carl Jung. He studied human beings and he came up with what you call the 5 big traits in human beings. One of them is conscientiousness, neuroticism, agreeableness, conscientiousness, neuroticism, and extraversion and openness. Who is an agreeable individual? That is an individual who is going to make it so easy, who is going to find it so easy to follow rules and regulations in a given working environment. Okay. They are very okay. They are very acceptable. They are very submissive. And because of that, they are liked at places of work. That is, if someone scores more in that given trait, there are people who score high in another trait called conscientiousness. That is the person who is very, very orderly. Their level of creativity is so high, and we can see that by the time someone is 5. Their level of creativity is so high. They don't want the monotony of doing the same thing over and over. They want to disturb things. They want to change things over and over. That's a career already being shown up. If someone is very conscientious, they don't want to see anyone sit down. If that's your boss, they want to see you busy each and every time. So if someone scores high in neuroticism, that's the 3rd trait, they are very emotional. They take things personal. It's them before they look at any other person. So if someone scores high in neuroticism, they can't so much get successful in a career that causes a lot of pressure. They can't be supervised. They don't want to be told what to do because they look at everything from their own perspective. You know, if someone scores high in conscientiousness and is supervising someone who scores high in neuroticism, they can't work. Someone who scores high in conscientiousness, that's a person who is very, very orderly. Those are the people who are good in supervising others. They are people in making things go in the right way. When it comes to firing someone, an individual scores high in conscientiousness, they don't care. They just have to get you fired. But if someone scores low in neuroticism, they can't do human resource. Because human resource, you're going to be managing so many people with different characteristics, traits. They love to be loved. So they cannot be in position to guide the people the way they're supposed to be. They can't even fire someone. I can't do that. I can't fire someone. But I know friends who you tell that, please, can you get that person fired? They will do it when they're happy. They're not bad-hearted. That's who they are. As individuals, you must understand that. Then there are people who score high in conscientia, in extraversion. It's an individual who scores high in extraversion, according to Carl Jung, they get bored easily at places of work. They get bored easily at places of work. They can't do the same job for given period of time. So those are natural traits that we have that guide us. And they should be so much very important in having a discussion about career growth and development. And by the time we're 12, they are showing up already. A conscientious individual is an individual scores high in conscientiousness. They want to have order. They want to disturb. They want things to go in the straight line. If someone scores high in agreeableness, they are very submissive. If someone scores high in neuroticism, they take things personal. If someone scores high in extraversion, they want to be free in the place of work. If someone scores high in openness, which is the last trait, according to Carl Jung, they always want to have a new experience at places of work. So even when you're placing these people at places of work, this should be done. You can't get a highly conscientious individual and you make them receptionists. They will never have a successful career. Why? Because they are very orderly. They can even stop someone from entering in a given company because they don't look good. So you need someone who scores high in openness at maybe a space like being a receptionist, because they are going to be very open. They want to appreciate everyone. They want to welcome everyone. They are going to have smiles from this chick up to this chick. That's who they are. Then if you so much place someone who scores high in neuroticism and make them receptionists, that's not a good
So you said that this is a research by Carl Jung. Carl Jung.
Yes.
Well, I'll be doing my best to at least read more of this understanding important, because they matter so much in career and in normal life. Allow me to go for a short break. When I come back, I'm still with my guest. We are discussing more of career development, but remember, this is about you. You as an individual, how best do you go as far as ensuring that you develop, you position yourself, because opportunities come to those that are prepared. Let's return shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Mutego. UBC Mutego.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you the tragic story of the mighty empire of Bunyoro Kitara. Enjoy the story of Africa's mighty warrior Omkama Kabalega in Tuko Pamoja Bunyoro segment.
Bunyoro would have simply created an East African community that we are looking for today.
When the Bachweze weekend that we see the emergence of all these other kingdoms that were under Bunyoro Kingdom. That's Buganda, Bunyoro, Karagwe, Rwanda, Burundi, Nkore.
We are similar people. And genetically we are even the same people.
Use that word pamoja.
Kagadi at URDT Institute on Friday 2nd August. Hoima Resort Hotel on Saturday 3rd August. Masindi at Vija Hotel on Sunday 4th August 2024. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko pamoja?
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real.
deal. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Joko, I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from that break, and I cannot get tired for thanking you for being with us. Thank you very much. We are still looking at career guidance, career development. For you to have a successful career, how do you need to know yourself more? What areas should you improve? But now I want to move into now organizations, human resource managers, owners, employers. How best can you ensure that you make the best of the people working for you to have the best in terms of profits and maximization of the resources at hand?
Yes, please. Thank you so much. Now, that one starts with understanding the kind of people that you're bringing in. Because maximization of individual performance comes in when, first of all, the person that you've accepted to enter in. It starts with that. Which person are you hiring? Which traits are you looking at as an employee at the end of it all? Because you can't put in what God left out in most cases. When an individual comes in, chances are you may not be in a position to change them to what you want to be. I mean, to what you want them to be. Most especially when an individual is 30 years and above. Why? Because they've already mastered their personality is concretizing them, their character is already high. So chances are you may not get the best. So it starts with hiring. How do we hire? Hiring is very, very important. Who do we hire? What do we look at? What should we be looking in that specific individual that we want to have in a specific position? Now, hiring in is one. Number two, how do we position that person? At the end of it all, do we position people because of what they are? Do we position people because of their potential? Do we position people according to what they can do or because of what they've studied? That's very much important. Because you can have a good person but put them in the wrong position. Therefore, performance cannot be achieved. I mean, the greatest performance cannot be achieved. Now, after getting in the right person, you put them in the right position. Have you given them the resources that are required for them to perform? Because, come on, people can't turn water into wine. At the end of it all, if you want someone to perform, you must, first of all, hire the right person, put them in the right position, give them the necessary resources.
Now, let's go to hiring, because you talked about what you depend on. And I remember one time His Excellency interested me so much. He was talking about the anti-corruption unit, if I recall very well. And they said when we were hiring people, we looked at qualifications. We didn't look at integrity. And a friend of mine was telling me that now, if it's to look at integrity, how do you see integrity? Maybe you can make background checks and all that. But usually, we hire depending on qualifications. If I went to a journalism school, we advertise jobs. Do you have a bachelor's? If they want maybe a hire, do you have a master's, work experience of 3 years and more? So this is what generally we look at. In some countries, they look at ability to deliver. When you go to the Asian tigers, you find that they will look at skill. You know, how good are you in something? They may not look at what did you and the books you have. Recently, yes, I've seen government move into the Director of Industrial Training, Directorate of Industrial Training, where they're now going to put in the formal sector and finding how they can match and give them a qualification to present still when getting a better job. So qualification versus ability, how do we go to this as maybe employers?
It's very important that for you to understand as a boss that you cannot have someone who's 1000% right. It's not that. So we should be in a position to have training opportunities for people. Because probably you have a list of 10 things that you need to have from an individual. And that person has 4, that person has 5. Can we be in a position to have them? Then after having them, because fishing talent is one of the most important things as well, because talent is rare. One of the rarest resources that we have in human resources, talent. Getting that individual that can be in a position to give out the best is rare. So when you get that person, when you get them fished, put them in a position where you want to play. Can they understand someone? In other words, do we have any spaces of mentorship, apprenticeship, such that they can probably learn from a senior? This is what the Western countries are doing. Google has its own school. When you go with your bachelor's in IT computer science, they take you to their school for 6 months, hired but paid, but still you're studying. Apple has that. All serious companies have that. When you bring in someone, here what they do some kind of orientation, orientation of a day or two. That's not enough. Someone should be in a position to understand the organizational culture. Someone should be in a position to understand how to report, where to report, and how things go. So you hire someone, basically, let us use the best approach. You get someone, probably they have the bachelor's, they have the talent, but that's not it all. You can't keep on mining something that someone doesn't have. So hiring is very important, but let us position someone in a place where they can keep on learning and upgrading. We must be in position to put in what you want that person to deliver. So hiring is one, but we should be in a position to also embark on training. Orientation for a day or two is not enough. We've had companies taking us for team building, and what they do, they're just simple games. But you're doing team building of individuals that have all met in one place, but they grew up in different environments. So team is not built like that. I'm a human being from Uganda. I'm working with someone from Busoga. I'm working from someone from the West. Just because we've got together and we've had a discussion doesn't mean that we're a team. No, it's not like that. The human brain processes so many thoughts. I have so many definities. I have so many things that define me as an individual. I can't give them off. I can give them off specifically for that period of time. But at the end of it all, I'll go back to who I am as an individual. So hiring is one, but you should be in position to continuously train people. And that is the biggest problem that so many employees don't want to get involved in because they think it's costly. That's why they're not making the money. People that have been in position to understand that they train people seriously, they fly them out because they know the biggest resource that you can ever have is a competent human mind. Once a human mind is competent in relation to what it's supposed to deliver, you'll have all the best. So people don't want to put in training people. Why? Because they think it's costly, wastage of time. And we went somewhere where someone says, I hate training because each and every time I train someone, once they get some status, they go away. I think yes, that's a risk. But the biggest risk is having someone who is not trained at all because they're not going anywhere. People don't understand the organizational visions. Everyone is talking about a vision, mission. They're just put up on pieces of walls. Why? Because there's what we call self-image. Each and every human being has their own potential and has a limit of where their potential is. Now, an employee, a boss should be in a position to say like, okay, Chirabo, this is who you are. I brought you in. I'm giving you 2.5 million, but this is where we're headed. But in order for me to go on with you, you should be such and such and such an individual. That's why I need you to go back for training because you're still young. You understand? So that's the approach that we need to have. We need to keep on training people. You go in a company where someone has a company of 150 million, they take it for granted because they are paying someone 1.5, 1.2, 1.3. But the success and the future and the sustainability of this company lies in the mind of this individual. So have you been in position to train them according to really what you really want? Do they understand organizational values? Do they know where the company is going? Can they articulate the vision? In some organizations, it's only the boss who knows where the company is headed to.
So now we've talked about training. Yes. What other area of concern do you think that they have to factor in to bring out the best of their employees?
Paying them well and promptly. At the end of it all, you cannot mine something from a desert. An individual has so many juices that need to be lubricated. A human being needs to be fed well. They need to be paid well. You need to have a connection with someone that you're working with. So the welfare department has to be very standard, and individuals need to be cared. You need to have that. There are issues that individuals take for granted, but they so much matter. individual lives? Do you know where they stay? Do you know where they're coming from? Do you know anything about their families? Or just see them on a daily? Some of the bosses have cars, but some employees stay very far. Some employees come on foot, and bosses are very much detached. All of what they want to do is someone executing a given role. That's not true. We are human beings. When I get to know that my boss is Chirabo, he knows where I stay, you know, there's that connection. Human beings, we want to relate. When I can't relate with someone that I'm working with, then I get detached from the vision that you're trying to push me in. At the end of it all, the biggest part that we need to have, that if someone has an organization, if someone has an institution, we need to understand that I am a worker. But in order for me to help you achieve what you want to achieve, I must get to know what is in there for me. You're telling me about this, that we are becoming a multi-billion company, we are getting here, we are getting there. What is in there for me? Because human beings, we are selfish. It starts with me. When I get to know, okay, in the Kirabo complex, there is such and such and such, this is what we are getting to. This is what we are aiming at. But this is my cut at the end of it all. That's why change is hard. People don't want to change. But people don't want to change because when the change comes, I don't see myself in there. If you're talking about the changes that the organization is going to have, if you're showing me this journey, if you're giving me this vision, I should be in a position to know, okay, right now maybe I'm getting 2.8. But maybe in 5 years' time, this is what I'm going to have at the end of it all. Because human beings, we are selfish. If I don't know that there is something in there for me, I start detaching myself away from you because I start feeling a little bit disconnected at the end of it all. So we must so much keep on preaching the vision and saying it out and spreading it out in the hearts of the people that we are working with, such that they can understand exactly that, okay, Vision 2040, this is what I have. Uganda has Vision 2040. Teachers are looked after. Doctors are looked after. Everyone has a part in Vision 2040. That's why we are all supportive. But at the end of it all, when you keep on preaching change, but personally, I don't feel that I'm part of that change, I refrain from that. And I'm not giving you my best.
Well, very interesting character this morning when we talk about personal development, your career development, but also organizations or employers, what they need to know to ensure that they bring the best of those that they have for them to make more profits and, of course, sell better in business. Now, time is not so much on our side. I must let you go, but I'll just give you a minute for your parting shot regarding today's topic.
Oh, thank you so much once again for having me. The most important part that we need to understand here is there is a lot of potential in human beings. Human beings can do a lot. We can do a lot. We can achieve a lot. But at the end of it all, this kind of potential that we have, it has to be taught. It has to be talked about. We have to embrace it. We must keep on having continuous conversations such that people can get to know who they are. And career doesn't start with what you're studying at university. It starts with who you are as an individual. Because at the end of it all, it is you who is going to do that specific job that you're trying to study on. But conclusively, let us try to understand. I encourage people to look at the Carl Jung theory of personality traits, the 5. The agreeableness, the conscientiousness, the neuroticism, the extraversion, and the conscientiousness. It's very, very much important for you to understand where your natural inclination is, because it is what's going to help you step yourself or position yourself in an environment that is relatable to you as an individual. Hence, career growth and development.
Well, thank you so much, Semarulu Charles, for your time, and above all, our viewer. Thank you very much for being with us, and I can't wait to have you tomorrow. 6:30, that is when we begin Good Morning Uganda. We brighten up your mornings with relevant information that you need to know, light moments here and there, and also issues of national concern. We usually have guests, and don't forget the sports updates, the traffic, the press review. It's a heavy packed show with information, so you can't afford to miss. Make it a date with us tomorrow. See you then. God bless Uganda.
Live from UBC